Hello, hello, hello. Okay, who do I have here? I'm excited to get started. I want to make sure everyone can hear me. So let me know if you can hear me okay. I have a fancy new mic, as you can see, and a headphone set. So please just type in, let me know. Let me know if you can hear me. Perfect. Okay, great. Well, I hope that some of you guys can call in today. What I wanted to do is briefly just go over what we know about the Heidi Planck timeline, what we've learned over the past couple of days. I have some super special guests with some great experiences to share. We have Booth on the Ground, which is something that Gavs's channel has. Has started. We really like to cover all of our ground and make sure we really understand what happened. And we like to focus on the facts as well. So please subscribe. Please like this if you find it interesting, if you find it informative. We have some integrity here. And then go to Gavis's channel, which is linked to my YouTube, and join our Discord. So, to start off, just a quick overview of what we'll be talking about today. We have this 39-year-old woman. She is missing. Last seen is in Los Angeles. As you probably already know, if you don't already know about this case, we did a really good overview a couple of days ago, so go check it out. It's the only other video available on YouTube, so it'll be easy to find. Um, but yeah, so Heidi was last seen on October 17th. She was at her son's football game. She left in somewhat of a rush halfway through the game, and we don't really know where she went, but she brought her dog Seven with her and went straight from the game to downtown LA. And her dog was found on the 28th floor or 29th. There's one person who's saying it's the 29th, but regardless, inside the super secure building called the Hope and Flower Building. And like I said, it's super secure, and her dog was found on the 28th floor, and she has not been seen. Some of her devices have been found, and the location has been turned off. So it's a huge mystery. When I first started digging into this case, I thought it was going to be a little more simple than the Gabby Petito case, and it's just as complicated. So, please do call in if you can. I know I'm expecting Dawn to call in. I think Art might call in. I'm hoping that a couple other people call in as well. So, just make sure you can get a hold of that StreamYard link. I have the YouTube there. And I'm sure one of the mods can share the StreamYard link as well, if you don't mind. Okay, so I have here people and facts to consider. Heidi's name is Heidi Smeater Wayne Planck. She was married to a man, Jim Wayne, prior to this. So her name still includes his last name. This is very common for people who share a child, which they do. Um, we don't really have to go over her phone number or anything like this. She has a BA in business administration, and her cousin most recently said in a Twitch stream that she does indeed have her real estate license. I have not been able to verify that. So if you can verify it, it's likely in California or potentially in New York, where she is from. She is from Buffalo. Um, she is said, according to Jim, her ex-husband, to make $125,000 a year and $1,500 potentially in bonuses, which is a lot of money. Not a whole lot for LA, I will say that. I live in Vancouver, and we have a similar cost of living here. And I know that doesn't go very far, but for, a single woman, that can get you a lot. And I know that, friends of hers said that she regularly got her lashes done, stuff like that. Lashes cost, I think I mentioned in the last stream, $200 to $300 a pop, depending on if you get the mink or the, synthetic brand. So if you're getting your lashes done, it's safe to say you have a little extra money to spend. She began there as a personal assistant. She was quickly promoted to bookkeeper and is known as the financial controller, which is another way to say accountant without an accounting degree. She has worked there for 5 years. We have found at least 17 businesses associated with Heidi. Okay. So she is known to be the manager or director or just the agent associated with these businesses. This is really interesting for a large corporation in which I've worked. I will say it's not uncommon to have several different businesses under the main business. That's so that if one gets in trouble, only that one goes down and it doesn't bring the whole house of cards with it. But regardless, the fact that her name was on a lot of it is interesting. I do know that days before she had gone missing, she had been speaking with friends about not being too excited about being named as. As the manager or the person of contact for many of these businesses. And you'll understand why in a second. Okay. So, yeah, so she's also the contact of the Sugarman family office back in 2017. That's associated with Camden Capital LLC. That's the main business she works at. And we recently found another company called VPatch LLC, which may or may not be active currently. Again, it has her name associated with it. We have our Facebook, Instagram, and Poshmark there. Poshmark was interesting. I found out yesterday. We'll talk about that. And I would really like to know what you guys think about one of the pictures that I'll show. Okay, so this is Heidi. She's a beautiful woman. She wears a lot of wigs. You'll find out. Okay, Jim Wayne, her ex-husband. I don't want to go too deep into this because you guys already know a lot of this information. But regardless, they have been divorced for I think 9 years, something like that. They've been in a custody battle since 2012. Now I don't know if that's simply just part of the vernacular that it was a battle or if it was really a fight. Her friends do describe her as being a really good mom and really cared about her child. Though Jim, her ex-husband, does mention that they had different parenting styles. So she was a little more laid back, and he the person who cracked the whip. He also has a couple other children from another marriage. So Wayne, interestingly, has been the sole contact person of this whole narrative. And we have a picture of him somewhere where I thought we did. I think that might have accidentally been deleted. But regardless, he is a hairdresser. He's, I think, 12 years older than her. And he did file for full legal and physical custody a few days after she was reported missing. And we'll talk about the details of that. I'm hoping John will call in. She's a paralegal. She understands the ins and outs of these sorts of legal issues, which I do not. I am not that kind of a peer. Um, Something else I was going to say about Jim is that he's a hairdresser in Beverly Hills, and they have quite a good relationship. The cousin of Heidi, who was on the Twitch channel a couple of days ago, did mention that he found it interesting that her mother wasn't the contact person of all this, but it could simply be because she still lives in Buffalo, and so it might be a little more difficult for the mother to play a bigger part. And they share a child. Wayne and her share a child. So, he was one of the few people that she saw right before she went missing. Okay, Naeem Salam. This is a guy I find very interesting and who I have a difficult time finding information on, which always leads me to be a little bit suspicious. He apparently works for the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, which is an initiative, it's an organization that seems to focus on childhood learning. He does have some experience being the financial uh, gosh, I don't know, some executive BP of finance for several schools. So he does have some experience there. He also holds a degree in finance. He seems to do very well for himself. We think that he lives in San Francisco, though he does have some places that he's lived at in LA. So we're not quite sure. We do know that there are reports of them kind of arguing back and forth because of the distance that it took for him to travel, and she wanted him to travel more, and he wasn't so into it. So they reportedly had broken it off. Actually, she broke it up with him days before she went missing. Another interesting little fact. And then there's Heidi's dog, Seven, who unfortunately was found on the 28th floor of the building and was cared for by a neighbor for about a week before they were able to reach Jim, her ex husband, who now has the dog and is with their son. Okay, Suzanne is the mom. She's the one in Buffalo. She so I talked about this in the last stream about is she Canadian? Because there was some talk about Heidi going to visit her for Thanksgiving, and we are like, huh, like isn't American Thanksgiving a few weeks from now? Indeed, it is. I don't think they're Canadian. So from what I understand from the cousin who was on the Twitch stream, they being the mother and Heidi were talking a few days before she went missing, and they were just talking about how excited they were to see each other for Thanksgiving. So, mom was excited to have her daughter come visit, and unfortunately, as we know, that likely won't be happening. When is American Thanksgiving? It's like in a couple of weeks, in a week. I don't know. All I know is Remembrance Day, and I get that off on Thursday, so that'll be my claim to fame as a Canadian. Though I don't think everyone gets it off, so I'm a little special that way. Okay. Let's see. So Danielle is so lovely. She is Heidi's best friend, November 25th. Okay, thank you, Lady X. I appreciate that. November 25th. Yeah. So, hey, it's possible she may see her mother for Thanksgiving. Maybe she'll reappear then. That would be a Thanksgiving miracle, but I don't know. I don't know. I I hope. Okay. So back to Danielle. She is Heidi's best friend. She has been on the streets passing around flyers and putting them up everywhere looking for Heidi. You can see it in her interviews. She's kind of teary eyed. She really cares about her friend. I actually reached out to her on Facebook and she did answer. She was really happy that we were looking for her and trying our best to help. I did ask her some questions about her relationship with Jim and with other people, but she said she's been told not to talk about it, which I understand. But she did say that she wasn't the one who reportedly dropped Heidi off at that building back in 2020. Some of you may have heard that this isn't the first time that Heidi has been to the Hope and Flower building. But she said she wasn't able to confirm if indeed it was that building or if it was somewhere around there. And we'll talk about why that's interesting in a little bit. She also said, and you'll see in my notes here that I've marked in red some of the articles, because she said that a lot of the articles that were put out by the Sun as well as the Daily Mail that are notorious for paying for their articles are not entirely accurate. So we have to take that information with a grain of salt. Okay. Um, Jason Sugarman. I feel bad that I'm going through all this with you guys in detail. I hope it doesn't bore you. Please let me know if it does, and I'll just skip over it and tell people to go up to the last video. But I'll try to be quick in this. So Jason Sugarman is our current boss. He is the owner of Camden Capital in El Segundo. We'll say El Segundo. He was actually charged in 2019 with hatching a fraudulent scheme that swindled $43 million out of a pension fund and left a Native American tribe $60 million in debt. Let's take that in. Native American tribe, $60 million in debt. So you can get an understanding of what kind of person this is. Not saying he did anything, but just saying that didn't seem to stop him from continuing to work in business and in finance. And I believe his partner was actually charged for that and was sentenced to like 14 years in prison or something. And I actually have highlighted the case here. This is something that I will need Dawn's help with because I don't fully understand what these litigation things say. I know the screen is really small. I'm so sorry, guys. Let me just zoom in on that. But essentially, it was just a fake investment for tribal bond schemes. And yeah, I mean, he stole money from, Native American people. Like, do we really need to be taking more from them? Drives me nuts. Okay. So back to this. He He did delete his LinkedIn profile also. Fox reached out to him and he deleted his LinkedIn profile. But let's look at the picture that we were able to get from the LinkedIn profile. Look at that face. Okay. Do you trust that face? I don't trust that face. But I'm not, that's speculation. Okay. I don't know. He might be a super trustworthy person who's just made some huge financial mistakes. But we'll see. Um, So Heidi had also been discussing with her friends that the company had some tax filings that were due, and she complained, like I said before, that her name was on so much of the corporate paperwork. Indeed, if you do look for it, it is. She's on so much, which is kind of wild to me. But I don't know how that sort of thing works. I just know that, I've been a territory manager and some other things for some corporations, and I've almost never been on corporate paperwork. Okay. Hi, Mark.
Hi.
Hey,
Hey.
you're Mark?
I am Mark.
Yes, I just want to make sure everyone else can hear you because this is my first time taking a caller in. I'm so glad you're able to join. Um,
I didn't find the link, so I didn't know if you were on or not.
yeah, yeah. Well, hey, call in anytime. I'm happy to have you. I'm just going to continue running through here. Feel free to pipe in whenever you want. I don't want to be the only voice that everyone hears. I'm sure my voice will get annoying to everybody. So, yeah, it'll be great to have you here. And then there's Jason Galanis, the porn king, the porn king. So he, in 2014, devised a scheme with his father to defraud the Whatever Lake Community Corporation, and it resulted in $27 million of bad travel bonds. So similar again. So maybe this is the bad guy, and Jason Sugarman is just a good man with bad face, but I don't know. So he was sentenced to 11, not 14, 11 years in prison. Okay. So he was the ex business partner. So these are the types of people that she's been working with. And then there's some direct supervisors, director of finance. I really haven't seen their names anywhere. I don't suspect them of anything. I don't know that they're big players in this, so we'll leave them out of it for now. No, they've not dropped off any donuts or anything. So I'm not suspicious, but we'll see. Okay. So Downey, Florida is the last place that she was seen. Yes, Alyssa, it was a porn that indeed was never made. And he was actually caught because I think he put out an ad on Craigslist and someone was like, that's not real. And he was caught that way. He kind of looks like a guy. I'm being very judgmental here. Okay. Maybe I look like a person who might do that, but I don't know. I don't know. I think it's the eyebrows, the hair. Anyway, we'll move on. Okay, so Downey, Florida. That's where she was visiting her son. He had a base or a football
You're in
game. Uh,
California, right?
Yes. Yeah. So in California, there is, I will say, just as an aside, guys, the reporting on this has been horrible. Like you can tell that people have copied and pasted certain articles and just changed names. And so there's reports of him being at a soccer game, at a baseball game. No one really knows if it was at their home field or somewhere else, or if he was at a Catholic school or not. So just really focus. I've done my best to get the most accurate information here. And if you do want to call in and let me know you're absolutely wrong, slap me around a little bit, that is okay. And no, not in that way. Okay. So I do want to be corrected if I am wrong, because again, I really want to be fact based. This is Heidi's home. We have ring video of her home. This is from Google. This is when it was being built. I'll quickly show you what her home looks like because it's quite magnificent. You know when there's like a huge production around it and like look at the beat's gonna drop in a sec. Okay. Yeah, so it's super nice. You can tell an architect designed this very beautifully, blah, blah, blah. It's gorgeous. What a waste. I can't get it. I can't get enough of it. So it's beautiful. Okay, so this is what she lives in. It's estimated to be worth about $1.6 million. So yeah, it used to be two lots. I think that Helm Square or Greenpath bought it and kind of merged the lots, as far as I understand. Okay. And so
So
this
she
is,
doesn't own the place. She just rents there, Mo.
I think so. Yeah. So I think it's owned by the Helms Square LLC or Greenpath or a combination of both.
Oh,
But yeah, that we haven't been able to confirm that, but we do
okay.
believe that she rents.
Do you know
Yeah.
what she was paying a month? Has anybody found out?
I don't know that. If
Okay.
someone wants to go look online and post it in the chat, that would be awesome. I'm guessing
A lot.
somewhere around 3 grand a month. That would be my guess.
Yeah.
My apartment is worth, I don't own it, but mine is worth about 1 million, and I pay about $2,000 a month. So I'm guessing hers is, depending. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'd pay $1,000 extra to live in that. Tell you that much. Okay. So right. So this is the place that the dog was found. It's people posting this in the comments on my last video. It looks like a very beautiful building, but it's pretty trashy on the inside. So there's a lot of complaints about people partying. It's it has 40 stories. I believe there are separate elevators for the penthouse. I haven't been able to confirm that yet, but we do have a very special person going to see the building in the next couple of days. So she'll be able to confirm that to Dawn. I'm hoping she calls in at some point. And yeah, so we're gonna actually go look at the penthouse. I believe it's four 4000 is the unit number, and it goes for $19,000 a month. We also have a person who is selling a penthouse or renting a penthouse in this building, and I think it's going for $125,000 a month. Can you imagine having that kind of money where you're able to pay that monthly? So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Let me see. So Gavis is saying we believe there is a material risk that Galanis gained control of Bank of California. Interesting. Our belief is strengthened by the striking parallels between Bank and Galanis's uh, Jarova Financial. Here, I'll let Gavis in. Hello, Gavis.
Hey,
Thanks
how
for
you doing?
joining.
I get
Good,
it.
good.
Hey guys.
Hi. So, did you want to talk a little bit about the Bank of California thing that you just posted?
Yeah, just that they people were thinking that Galanis was connected to that Bank of California. So if you go back to that picture of Heidi's condo there, basically they financed
Oh
it.
yeah.
That black sign on the fence is Bank of California
Yes. Yes.
that went to the
Yeah, you
right.
can see it right here. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's they're thinking that that was Galanis that financed this build.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay. And yeah, so Bank of California is going through some sort of a like big financial troubles. So, have they been suspended as a company or something like that, or are they just fined heavily? Do you know?
I don't know if that was connected to the fraud that he actually got
Yeah.
convicted for. So maybe it got transferred to somebody else, and you know what, the Sugarmans might have been a part of that as well, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them. There are apparently several different fraudulent schemes happening all at one time. So, and then of course, and we'll talk about it briefly, but Sugarman is claiming that Heidi did siphon, that's his word, siphon money from his business. So who knows if that's true. But finally, we have Aaron Gill, who is a new player that Gavis found today. He is a real estate agent slash producer, so that's what they're calling him, at Douglas Elliman, where Heidi worked in 2015. So I think it was 2015 to 2016 that she worked there. He owns a company called
Epic
Epic,
in
Epic,
Chicago.
Chicago. Yeah, that's the one. And he's a contact for the Hope Street Apartments, and he has some good relationships with Ani, who is also a company that has helped build or finance something of the sort. So
Omni,
the
yeah.
yeah, no, it's ONNI.
Oh,
So
is it?
I think there's another company called Omni, but this one's Oni. And I've double checked that because people have gotten it kind of mixed up, but they originate in Vancouver, unfortunately. And they were actually fined in Vancouver for something about short-term rentals a few years ago.
Yeah.
But you can double check that if you want. Okay, so he works for a company called Compass. He was in the news. I'll open this up. This is what Gava shared with me earlier today. Look at this guy. Oh my goodness. Look, you can tell the cameraman was like, okay, now smile and walk with confidence. Okay, snap that shot. Okay, so they just talk about basically, he started in where was it? It was Chicago, and then he got huge as a real estate person. He wears a lot of hats. I believe he finances some of it. He's a broker, and then I don't know if he actually is. I think he is a real estate agent actually as well. Um, but yeah, so they call him the luxury real estate producer. And if you check out his Instagram, there is something that he was tagged in. Oh shoot, I don't have. Or do
So
I?
Mo, when I was digging today, I just sent you in Discord a DM,
Yep,
Isabella Garcia, and it is Omni Group,
it is Omni Group.
right? So this girl, she must have worked really closely in trying to sell some of those Hope and Flower apartments,
Hmm.
and obviously because she works at Douglas Alleman or whatever, she would have been working with that Aaron Gill.
Okay.
So this is a
Um,
girl that I think we should try to make contact with in some way, shape,
Isabel
or form.
Garcia, Element. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, Omni. So I'm just gonna quickly, because I need to. I was looking into this.
So
Omni
that
Group.
address that's there is actually one of the offices they had on the beach. It's not
Okay.
it's not her house or anything like that.
Hope and Flower Building. Omni. Just want to
Oh,
make sure.
is that different? Because if you look at Isabel, she says Omni in that
Yeah, she says
banner.
Omni, and I wonder if people are just getting it wrong.
I think so. It's a
Ani. See? Ani. It is Ani. ONNI.
weird.
Yeah. I mean, it's an easy mistake, but who knows?
Well, no, because Omni is connected to the CBRE, the big boys, right?
Hmm.
CB Richard Ellis. That's the big
Okay.
boy.
Oh,
So that's not Ani. Yeah, well, I guess it's right there. So
but but
yeah,
yeah, the Hope and Flower lists Ani.
maybe that's just another subsidiary of the same thing,
Could be.
but they just
Could
have
be
it to try to protect it.
separate. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
same vibe, but
Yeah, definitely. So this is the Hope and Flower building. They make it look really, really nice. But I was reading some reports of some people who were living in the building, and they reported saying they didn't know a single person who was renewing their lease.
yeah,
So, and I was contacting them and asked some questions about security. I wanted to make sure that I understood that you need a fob to get into every single floor. So if you're on the 18th floor, you have a fob for the shared spaces, and you have a fob for the your parking area, and then you have a fob for your floor. But even if you went down the stairs, the door would lock behind you. You would not be able to get out anywhere else but the lower level, and you would need an extra key to get back into your actual apartment there. So
Yeah, Mo, I found out that it takes 4 levels of security to get through this place. So
unbelievable.
that's why the dog, they don't understand about the dog and
It's a
how
mystery. Yeah, so the dog would have had to walk in the building, okay, and you can't just walk in, you need a fob. So someone would have had to open the door for the dog.
exactly.
The concierge would have had to say hello to the dog and check
Yes,
the guest list and make
yes.
sure the dog is indeed on the guest list. And if the dog is not, then out you go. But indeed, the dog kept going. This is if the dog walked in on his own, went up the elevator, again, used his fob with his paws, and then tapped the right button. Okay, so that's how we would have had to get up to the 28th floor. The other option is he was on another floor and was put on the elevator and sent down and got off wherever the door opened.
But I also read, Mo, that if you live in that apartment tower, you have to come down and meet your guests at the
Yes,
concierge
you
desk.
do.
You
You do.
can't just say such and such is here, and push a button and they can come up.
Yeah.
You have to go
How
to
I will say though, when I was talking to the agent who was trying to sell me this, penthouse,
okay,
or rent me this penthouse, not even sell it, I could tell that there were options of me like calling. I said I'd like to use it for business. Like, what if I have a lot of people coming in? And he said, "Oh, well, you could call down, and we just need to confirm the name and of the person." So it's possible that they could
oh,
have let them in. I think it depends on the person and what your relationship is with the building.
okay.
But I would imagine the people in the penthouse that are paying the big bucks, you might not want to ruffle their feathers. So that was the sense that I got, but that is a good point to make. Okay. Back to the timeline. So October 15th, we're talking, this is 2 days before she went missing. This is when she spoke to her mother about going
Mhm.
to Buffalo for Thanksgiving. We also found out that there was a class reunion that she was hoping to
Exactly.
attend. And that's interesting because the very next day, some high school friends said that they had received a friend request from her over Facebook, which I thought was kind of weird the day before she went missing. But given it was an upcoming class reunion, it kind of makes sense of, hey, do you want to go for dinner? Like, I'll be in town or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Then Sunday, she goes to her son's game at St. Pius. Pius? I'm Catholic, I should know this. But it was in Downey, California, as we mentioned. She attended. Her ex and her friends said that she seemed stressed and nervous for days leading up to this. She left, we estimate, around 1:30. And we also mapped this out thanks to Art and said that it would probably take her 25 to 35 minutes to get from the game location down to the Hope Street location. So this is the last picture of her. This is from her Ring video. She's leaving her house to go to the game. So I don't want you guys to get confused. This is still the same day, but this is around, I don't know, 12:30 or whatever, whenever she left to go. Her dog is on a leash. He's just dragging it. Labradoodle, very smart. They're usually fine off leash. And she's found leaving in her 2017 gray Range Rover to go to the football game. Interestingly, we haven't been able to confirm the registry of her license plate. Okay, so Dawn is saying it's a 35 minutes drive from her house to get there. Okay, so Dawn would know. Okay, thank you, Dawn. Okay, so this must have been 35 minutes before the game or whatever. Maybe she got there early and said hello to her son. Who knows? Who cares? It's not relevant. So we actually have been able to confirm the footage, so we can take that away. Um,
Well,
okay. Yes.
oh, can I just say one thing? In finding out about that class reunion and the friend request, she also had another event that she was supposed to be attending, and that was an NFL game. But I could
Right.
not figure out who she was going with. But there were three things. She was talking to her mother. She had also been in contact with her aunt, apparently, and they were all excited to be together in Buffalo.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and
That's
then, but there was an NFL game she was supposed to attend, and I cannot find who she was going with or
hmm,
anything about that.
hmm. Okay, interesting. So if anyone can find that information, that would be really good. I have Dawn here saying that it could be 40 minutes uh, without traffic to the downtown LA apartment. And that Dawn is from the game, I assume. And there's always traffic. Yeah. That's what I hear about LA, but I've never driven in LA. I don't plan on it. I've driven in Toronto and that was a terrible mistake. So hot tip, don't get a car in Toronto. That's stupid. Don't be
Try driving in
stupid.
Mexico City.
Oh my God.
It's brutal.
I don't know why you do that. Okay, so what was I gonna say about this? She's carrying blah blah. Okay, doesn't matter. Oh, right. The license plates. We haven't been able to confirm that they're registered. I don't know who was looking into that, but it would be interesting to know who the car was registered to. We think that it could have been a business car, because her boss does indeed have the same car, and we have some footage of that too. Okay. So this is a Daily Mail article. Take it with a grain of salt. But we do know that her son didn't receive a good night text from his mom on the evening of October 17th. That is reported in other, non-paying news, you know, Fox and whatever else you don't pay for their stories. I can't believe Fox was the first one to come to mind. I usually don't listen to Fox, but anyway, they've been covering the story. They have some information. And it's been good. I'll give them that. And like I said before, a friend said that she had been picked up in that apartment building in 2020, but we haven't been able to confirm that. It was a friend that reportedly told NBC this information. We don't know who this friend is. I haven't been able to get in contact with them. I don't know their name. Okay, so this is October 18th. So this is new information. I was talking about this before. So it's about the phone and how the phone was retrieved. I think there's a lot of people online that are confused about this. So actually, what happened is Heidi's son texted Danielle saying he was worried about his mom because he hadn't heard from her. So he didn't get the goodnight text, and he hadn't seen her after the game. So because Danielle had a key to Heidi's home, he asked her to go check on her. So Danielle indeed went. Okay. And she went into Heidi's home and didn't see her and saw her work laptop and her personal phone. And she grabbed the personal phone, and then kept, she held on to it for a day. And then she said that the phone was on. Okay, so it was turned on, but it didn't have the location services on. So on all of our devices, we found out the location services were turned off. That's interesting because you need to be able to get into these devices. You could if you just had the one phone, they were all connected, you'd be able to do that on the one device, but you do need the passwords to get into that phone to turn them off. So it's either someone who has good knowledge on how to turn this off, or it was Heidi herself that turned them off, indicating that she did not want to be found, or she was told that you need to turn them off. Okay. And so on October 19th, Jason Sugarman drops off muffins at Heidi's home. Okay, so this is Tuesday. She does not show up to work on Monday. She does not show up to work on Tuesday. He decides this is a great time to go drop off some muffins. So let's watch this just really quickly. And you guys tell me what you see. Is this a concerned person? Is this oh, we're gonna get a little ad for Vegas. Okay, so I don't like showing ads, so we'll just scroll down there. Is it done? No, not yet. Here we go. Okay. So these are her friends, blah, blah, blah. Where is this? Okay, here is her leaving. And here's that guy's face. Here's the trouble that he's into. Okay, so here is him. So I want to look at this. Okay, so what do we see here? He's kind of, you can tell he has somewhat of bad back. I think he rings the doorbell and walks right away. He left the door open. Okay, so that to me means he did not intend on staying. But regardless, he leaves some muffins at her door. What a great guy. So I have a friend who's a law student. He actually has finished his law degree, and he is waiting to be licensed as a lawyer. And I spoke to him about this case to see if he has any insight. And he said he remembers reading a forensic file where the husband had killed his wife, set off a bomb to go off in their house during a business trip, and to make it look like she died in the house fire before he left. Okay, so he set off a bomb to make it look like she died in a house fire. When his business partner arrived to pick him up, he was on the porch and called into the house, "Goodbye, I love you," and tried to sell it as an alibi. Now, that is just to say it's happened before. People have done this before. I still think this guy is suspicious. I just don't trust him. Even if he's not involved in this, I don't like him. Just going to put that out there.
Do we have an address for Sugar Man where he exactly lives? No,
That is a good
because I
question.
have not found that out.
No.
He doesn't live in the Hope Tower, correct? Or does he? Or
You
could he?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't have his address.
Oh,
So if
I don't
anyone
think
has his address,
I don't think
oh,
anybody
that's
does.
Golannis. Hold on. Yes, yes, we do have his address.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, Rancho. Let's see. Let's go take a look at what his home looks like. If this is indeed. Okay, so is that it? 832. Yeah, that's it. Is that all one? No, it's not. That's 826. Modest home. Not what I would expect, to be
Right.
honest. But this is from February 2020, so it's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
If indeed that is his house,
Okay.
looks like it. But I don't see his Range Rover. Maybe he wasn't home.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Okay, back to the timeline. Back to what we know and what we've learned. Um, okay, there we go. Muffin Man. Don't trust him. Okay. And then that day, so it's the day after that Danielle went to check on her friend who found out she wasn't at home, she gives the phone to Jim. Okay. Okay. So on the next day, this is the Wednesday, the ex-husband does report her missing. Because it was her turn to pick up her son at school in Watts, California, and she fails to arrive. They are very concerned about that. That is very unlike her from what they say. So then the ex-husband that same day calls the police, asks for a wellness check, and reports her missing. The wellness check is completed by police who are accompanied by both Danielle, the best friend, and the ex-husband Jim. The 21st, the next day, Jim says that the Security and Exchange Commission, which is shortened by SEC, you'll see this all over the internet around this case. SEC stands for Security and Exchange Commission. And he reportedly is called by a woman who says she's working for them in the investigation unit and is asking about Jason Sugarman and the firm. That has not been verified. He says he's confused as to how they got his number and why they're calling him, which I agree is a little odd. But maybe that's normal. If you are in the comments, if you're watching right now and you know stuff about the SEC, if you have been investigated, please call in. You don't have to talk about the details, but I would like to know if this is normal or if this is totally abnormal. And at the very end of the stream, I will talk about what my theories are. So we're going to focus on facts here, and I'll let you know what has not been verified. But then we can talk about what we can speculate together. And Gavis has rejoined. Thank you. Okay. So, right. So this is another Daily Mail article. Take it with a grain of salt. But Jim says that he communicated with her work after she was reported missing. I actually did watch an interview where he does discuss this, so I do trust this information. But he says that he was talking to Jason Sugarman's assistant, and he hears Jason Sugarman, after being told that Heidi's missing, yell, tell him I want the laptop back, and says that he felt that he didn't really seem too concerned about where Heidi was, but he was more concerned about getting that laptop back. And that is when he accuses Heidi of siphoning money from the company. And then on top of that, and here's another weird thing, and this has been said by Jim, I've watched the interview, that that they had proof that she was siphoning money because they had her personal financial and bank account statements that they sent to Jim as proof. That's weird. I have never ever been asked or given out of the goodness of whatever to a boss. I wouldn't give anybody my financial records, my bank statements. That is very personal information. So the fact that he had access to that is really odd, and the fact that he would send it to Jim just seems like a weird move. um what are you going to get out of that? Why are you so upset that you're doing those types of things? So that's a weird one for me. Okay. Another Sun article. So Jim looks into the phone, and here there's a lot of things floating around on the internet, confused about, microchips aren't, GPS tracking devices. Why was the microchip part of the finding of the dog? If he was looking at her phone reportedly and saw that there were messages from somebody saying, "Hey, are you missing a dog?" So I think what ended up happening, and this is what the cousin said as well during the Twitch interview, is that he contacted the central data location for the microchip and checked pretty much every day, seeing if the dog had been reportedly found. And then finally, he ended up apparently the central data location did get somebody calling in or something, or someone scanned the chip or whatever and found out where the dog was, and then he went to check the phone and indeed found the text messages from the people on the 28th floor. It's still a little convoluted of a story for me. I would like to speak to Jim about that just to see how he got a hold of the dog. But more so, I would like to speak to the people who found the dog. Again, I just mentioned the fact that she may have been dropped off at that building in 2020. October 26th, I did mention this. Wayne filed an ex parte order for full custody of their son, and the order is granted. So this, I would love if Dawn could call in and talk about this for a little, because she is the expert on this. So Dawn, if you are there, please call in to StreamYard. Would love to have you.
Yeah.
Um, but there are some interesting facts about this ex parte hearing. One of the things that is very odd is that typically, in order for something like this to go through, the respondent herself, which would have been Heidi, has to respond. And in this case, the court granted her attorney. So here we go with perfect timing. Dawn has joined us. Hello, Dawn.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay. So, can you tell us a little bit about the court document and what was odd about it and what exactly it involved?
So, after the hearing on Friday and everything that was submitted by by Jim, um, I'll be honest, it's suspect as far as what to me, personally, I think it puts him as a definite someone to look at now,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
he claims that that his reasoning for asking for custody, and this is a permanent sole legal and physical custody of the child, so she's lost custody at this point,
Mhm.
um, because he was severely affected emotionally and needed immediate therapy because of Heidi being missing.
Right. And so is that a typical reason that people will file something like an ex parte? Is that something that you've seen before? Just saying like, I need to make these medical decisions for my children.
Yes, I have, but this is a very unique situation. It's a little soon. I mean, he filed
Mhm.
it on the 26th. And filed her missing persons report on the 20th.
Yeah,
It's a little
6
soon.
days. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, less than a week.
So something makes me wonder: did they have words at the game? And do you know? I mean,
Yeah.
this is not something. I don't know. I don't know. Nothing that fast. I've never heard of anything like that. There's got to be. Usually, it's some type of abuse or neglect or something like that. That of course
Mhm.
a parent will go in and get an ex parte for. What he wrote in the declaration is definitely worrisome. The way he wrote it and the extreme emotional distress that their son is under, in his
Mhm.
words,
Mhm.
was probably why they granted it. Well, not to mention her attorney agreed. Her attorney said, yes, I agree. you know.
And is that also odd?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Because
yes.
someone's
It
attorney,
depends. We don't
right?
know what they know. You know,
Mhm.
we don't know if they've spoken. We don't know if, you know, we have no idea of knowing why she did do that. But this attorney has represented her in business dealings. She's does a lot of business law for years, and knows the family and knows her and knows
Mm.
her son Bond, and definitely said, yeah, this is what I think is best right now. So I'm
Right.
not going to,
And
argue
it's
it.
temporary, right?
No, it's not.
It's not
It
temporary.
is permanent. If for some reason, by the grace of God, she comes
Mm.
back, she can go in and explain what happened, and I'm sure get custody back. But as of right now, it is permanent. Yes, it's not a temporary
Interesting.
order.
And then the other question I have then is that
It,
previous to this.
wait, one
Oh,
sec.
go
I
ahead.
just want to clarify. It was
Yeah.
temporary from the 26th to the 5th.
Ah, okay. And so if she didn't file anything after the 5th, then it would have become permanent. Is that how that works? Or
Well,
before the 5th, rather?
the her side agreed to what he was asking for,
Hmm.
and cited a very good reason for it. Um, and that's why it was granted. Yeah, no. Yeah, so it's permanent now. It was when you file an ex parte, it's to get an immediate hearing. So
Hmm.
he got the temporary orders until the hearing took place, and the hearing was scheduled for the 5th, for last Friday, and
Okay.
that's when they made the permanent order. Mhm.
Very interesting. So Carson is asking, does dad need to get the court order to put the kid in therapy, even if it was during his parental
Absolutely.
time? Yeah,
Yes, any medical decisions or change of
has
school
to
or
be
anything like
joint.
that has to be a joint, because they share 50-50 cuts. It's never 50-50. It's always going to be 51-49, or, so somebody had, um, a little more than the other, and I'm not sure which, but either way, it was joint. So now he gets to make those decisions.
Okay. Interesting. And then the other question I had was their custody battle. Do you know much about that since 2012? Like, what were they? You don't know what they were kind of arguing. Was
Yeah,
it for
I
the
mean, a lot of
dad
it
to
was,
get
it looked
full?
to me, a lot of it was about child support,
Oh,
several child support modifications. There was
so I
one
was under
where
the
she,
impression, not to to interrupt,
no.
but I was under the impression that if you shared 50-50 custody, there was no child support.
That's the thing. There is no such thing as 50-50 custody. I know that's
Ah,
a thing, but there really isn't. There's, somebody will always have primary. So somebody has primary physical, primary, um, and they could be one, each has one, or both have primary, but somebody has a primary physical, primary legal.
okay, okay.
So, I mean, either way, he, on paper, as you were saying earlier, it looks like that he makes more than her, because she obviously, his job is a very profitable job.
Which is
And
which is abnormal, I will say. So I'm wondering, does he own this hair styling location in Beverly Hills, or do Beverly Hills hairstylists really make that kind of a
they do.
buck?
I
Yeah.
because
Wow.
that building actually was the building that I grew up going to get my hair done by a completely different
Oh.
haircut. It's called, yeah. It was Shanice used to be there. It's called Shanice, but they
Oh.
are no more. They got old, and but since I was 8, I got my haircut right there, like at that building.
Wow.
So
Okay.
now it's
Look
a
at
different
you.
one. So he works under, I think it was Vidal Sassoon. So
Okay. Yeah, that's a well-known. I know of Vidal Sassoon. I don't know much about
yeah,
hair, but I do know about
yeah,
Vidal Sassoon.
and it's the highest, it's the most expensive area in Beverly Hills. It's on Rodeo Drive, or it's right the Rodeo Drive um area. So
Okay.
yeah, he's
So
gonna get a lot.
I guess around those documents, is there anything that kind of pops out to you that really makes you think, I know you mentioned the hastiness of
Yeah.
this. Yeah, it's really
And
that
that's a
one,
big
eh?
deal. That's
Hmm.
big. I mean, and I'm trying to look, and let's see. So before the 25th, he just got the dog. What day?
He got the dog on the Gosh, I want to say,
It looks like I'm looking at it. It looks like the 25th. Is that right?
yes, it's the
Yeah.
25th. Yeah.
So you have to realize that she wasn't even technically like he said, you know, he went to the police and said she's missing, but there's a lot of things that red flag for me. The fact that the son was saying, I want to see her one more time, that bothers me greatly.
Yeah. Well,
That's
did the son say that, or did Jim say that it's too bad that he didn't get to see
he
his
said
mom
that.
one
See,
more? Yeah.
but he's
Mhm.
controlling the
Yeah.
narrative.
Yeah, he
Period.
is.
He's
Mhm.
controlling the entire narrative, and that is so. These quote facts that we have are coming from him.
Mhm.
The police aren't talking.
Mhm. Yeah, the
Friends
police
that
aren't
haven't spoken to
talking.
him. What's that?
Yeah. You're right. The police aren't talking. The FBI, pretty typical, aren't talking.
Right.
And now Jim isn't talking.
Right.
So who mentioned that before? Laren. Laren. It might be Lauren, but Laren, on the they're saying that the ex lied on the Nancy Grace interview. He couldn't stop talking, and now he went radio silent. He was very talkative around the case, and I was a little surprised of that, and the fact that he was quickly pointing the fingers at the job. Now, I won't say, I don't know if I really suspect the husband. And we'll talk about what could have happened here in my mind, and I'd love to get more people to call in and talk about what they think, because I'm one person with my experiences, but I've not been married, I've not been through a divorce, I've not worked in real estate, I've not worked in law, so those are things that I need people like you to tell me, is this normal? Is this not normal? Is this a red flag, or is this totally a white flag? And this is
The,
something that you
the
might
whole
expect.
the whole situation went down, and say that she was in a coma and couldn't care for him. You know what I mean?
Mhm, mhm,
We know that's we know where she is, and what she cannot do, what she's capable of doing. You know, an estrangement situation, or if she's gone. I mean, he didn't say anything about her being in trouble or anything about possibilities about why she was missing in the declaration. So the court didn't know that. So they were just, he was going off the fact that their son needed therapy and she wasn't there to authorize it.
mhm.
That to me, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
That's soon.
But then the
So
attorney also said,
I agree
the
with you.
attorney agreed
Right.
on
So
her
I don't know.
behalf. So that's kind of weird. So
But they
Gabs, are you able to call in? I don't know, Mark, I may have to boot you off just quickly.
Sure, go
Um,
ahead. Go ahead and boot me off.
yeah. Okay. And feel free to call in again. Love hearing your voice. You have a great voice.
so
um,
while Gavin's getting on, so
yeah.
as far as their case, the history, basically they have been going, to court a lot, but it's mostly just for modifications. They It did look like they had a moderator at one time. They've gone to several mediations. Finally, they got to the point where they could figure it out. And taking into consideration, her friend said that she's been fighting for her custody of her son. I don't know about fighting. I don't know if there was a real. I think that she probably had primary. It doesn't say. I can't. I
Mm.
don't see that part. Um,
It wouldn't
Actually,
surprise
I
me
do
her
have it.
being the mother.
Well, no, that doesn't. I mean, it doesn't really make a difference anymore in California.
Okay.
California is pretty,
Pretty liberal in
it's
that way.
unmarried. It's
Yeah.
unmarried at this point, because most of the time, because both parents work, and you know, but she did change her address twice, change his school, and she had to go to court to do that, and ask the court for a modification. But it doesn't look like he fought it or anything,
Mm.
and there were a few times where they switched their days around during the week. It didn't look like a horrible, horrible fight. So I
Hmm.
don't know. We don't know. There's things we don't know. Could they have spoken that day and gotten in a little tiff or something? Because who knows what?
Yeah, well, I mean,
He was a lot.
he was close enough at the game to notice how she was acting, right? So
This
we
is
can
only coming from
assume,
him. There's no one else from the game that stepped forward,
yeah, it's true. That's true.
and there were two teams worth of parents. So
Yeah. Yeah, interesting.
And
Interesting
no
that
one
we're
has
not
told
hearing
me,
from
haven't
them.
heard anything about from anybody at the kids' school or anything that I know of that I've heard of,
No, me
except for
either.
from him. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
So
Gav, anything to add?
Well, I might be the only one defending Jim, but I think he's a hell of a guy. I don't think there's any connection to him.
Yeah,
and
I am kind of in the same mind. I tend to just trust everyone, even the people who, Naeem. I was like, no, 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 he works for the Chan Zuckerberg initiative. He can't
Well,
be bad. But now I'm thinking other
no,
the
things.
Jim,
one
he's talking
thing,
about Jim. Yeah.
No, I know. But I'm just saying, Jim to me has seemed like an honest, desperate guy to find the mother of his son.
well, he seems like he's been the center focus for all of her friends and everybody for information. Like it's
Yeah,
not like he's closed off like the laundries have been. He's out there. He's trying, right? It's like,
yeah,
and to get his son therapy, I think was brilliant. I mean,
yeah.
it acts like it looks bad in the courts, but if you see where his heart's at and what he's trying to do, it's because he can't
hmm
go put that boy in any therapy whatsoever
Yeah.
Mhm.
without having that sole custody.
Yeah. My thinking is that he, I might react the same way as him. If someone close to me, especially someone I used to be married to, a family member had gone missing, I would go buck wild on all the interviews and talk to Nancy Grace, talk to Doctor, whoever I can and talk to and get on the media, and I would probably get slapped on the wrist by the police or the
No, no,
FBI.
I agree. I agree. And Gavin, I'm not disputing that at all. I just
Mhm.
think that that there needs
Well,
to be more of a narrative from somebody else. And I don't know if he's blocking that or not, or until Friday, up until Friday, I had no doubt. But after Friday's court hearing and reading through all of that, um
so
I'm now kind of seeing it
so
in
I
a little
I
bit of a
have
different
two
light, but I'm not condemning him or convicting him in my own head yet. You know
I
what I'm
have
saying? But
I
he
have
should be
two
on the table.
I have two scenarios. So the first and the highest one on my priority list is that Aaron Gill. I think
Okay,
he
okay, wait. We're
I
going to
agree.
talk about scenarios in just a sec. If you don't mind, I'll just go through the rest of the timeline. There's only a few more dates. So, because I do want to really dig into these scenarios, and you have a really good one on your hands that you brought up today. Um, so an interesting thing about October 29th is that it's the FBI now. It's not the LAPD. The LAPD may have been involved. I don't know if someone is going to mute.
just mute Don. Yeah.
Yeah, I've muted Don. Okay. So the LAPD may have come with the FBI, but they did a raid on her home. That's how it's being described. So they went in guns drawn, expecting a crime scene. These are their words. So they left with some files. We assume that it has to do with her work, but we don't exactly know, and we probably won't find out given it is the FBI. So somewhere between the 20th and the 29th, there was information, and maybe even before, this may have been planned. We don't know, that's speculation. But they had information that allowed them to get a warrant and then come in expecting a crime scene. In fact, there were, I believe there was the homicide unit on the scene as well. So just as a side note,
Do you know what's
November,
interesting?
yeah,
Sorry, Mo, but do you remember with Gabby's phone that they had to wait 15 days before they could get that warrant search or that warrant
yes,
executed? So the
yes,
affidavit had to wait 15 days from when they last had Gabby's phone active before they could serve that and get all the electronic data out of the
right.
laundry. So,
So what did they have
right. So the
that could
29th,
speed up the
back that up
process?
15 days would have been the 14th. And then she
Hmm.
goes missing on the 17th.
Yes. And she was worried about the tax filings at that point
Exactly.
too.
Right.
So that's interesting. So that gives me some pause around whether the FBI was responding to her being missing, or this was something that was potentially planned, and maybe they upped the ante now, finding that she was no longer
Maybe the
there.
Sugarmans were going to hang Aaron out to dry, just like they did with the Porn King.
Yeah. Oh, the porn king. Yeah. Okay. So November 3rd, that was the remote appearance. The husband receives full custody of the son. Blah blah blah. This is Actually, I don't know if that was November 3rd. I'll have to double check that. Again, that's Daily Mail. Take it with a grain of salt. November 4th, the LAPD confirm that they have received security footage from the Hope building where the dog was discovered. Thank God. So that will give them a lot of information. That is 4 days ago, and we haven't heard anything. So they know information and they're not releasing it to the public. So they must be building a case here. We can assume that they know who she went in with or how the dog got in, but again, this is not public information, so I would absolutely love to know that. Um, and then here is the alley that she was apparently seen walking down. So we don't know exactly which alley. This is the Hope building. Look at that. I don't want to give you vertigo. So this is the Hope building, and this is the alley. I couldn't quite get down there. I assume that the Google person didn't walk past the U-Haul truck with that thing on their head. But here's what I wanted to ask you guys. The color of this, I don't know. It doesn't look like it's brick, but this is her Poshmark photo. That could be a completely different. This is total speculation,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
God, she's got a lot of different looks, eh?
She does. She does. So, actually, I'll show you what she was selling on Poshmark. So, for those of you who don't know, Poshmark is a place that you can sell like designer items, typically very expensive things. So this is Heidi. Yeah, you can see that. Okay. So that's Heidi. That's just her thing. She has a lot of hair, and they're expensive. Okay, so this was originally $2,600 that she paid for this wig, and she was selling it for 150. A steal. So anyway, she obviously dated or was married to someone who did hair, so it's not surprising that she had access to this. But regardless, this is a lot of money that she spent on hair, and she could easily look extremely different with those wigs. So I found that a little bit
See, that's why
interesting,
keep
but
saying Jim Wayne is such a good guy. He probably gave her all of those.
yeah, he probably did a little tutorial or something at Vidal Sassoon and just took the wigs along or whatever. He does come across as a as a kind person to me, and his eyes look honest to me. But I've been fooled in the past, so who knows. So we'll go back down. We just have a couple more dates to go through. Right. Blah, blah, blah. November 7th, that was yesterday. The vigil was held in downtown LA to raise awareness for Heidi's missing case. This was put on by her friends. Okay, so now we're going to get to the speculations, the theories. So I want you to go first, Gavis. So what is your theory around what happened?
Well, I've looked into Naeem, and
Hmm.
he's as blue blood as they come. Like he went to the same prep school as JFK. Like we're
Hmm.
talking insane schooling. So I don't think he's ever going to touch anything in a bad way like this. So
Hmm.
he's off my list now. And so there's only two other scenarios that I can see, and that's the Aaron Gill, and then just a potential carjacking or a robbery inside the Hope building. So wherever this happened, it happened inside the Hope building. So I can tie Aaron to the 4004 penthouse,
Hmm.
and I have a feeling that they met there to discuss something urgent. And I don't know if it was a commission or something, but something I think there went wrong with him.
Hmm.
And from there, I think that he probably, I mean, and this is where the videotape is crucial. Did he take her out in a dishwasher or a fridge or throw her down the garbage chute and
Uh,
call down and
put a
say,
put a pin in that thought.
get the garbage guys to get the garbage out of here today? Like, I don't know. And drive her Range Rover away. And her Range Rover never actually had the GPS activated on it ever.
Ever.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting. So I've heard a lot about these theories. I'll add Dawn back to the stream. Um, So this is the 4004, which is indeed being sold by Aaron Gill. That is the person. It's $24,000 a month.
Right.
Pretty penny. Yeah. So
So imagine
related.
if somebody had, ponied up for a 1-year lease on that, they might have paid up front to get it or something like that. So that could have been I don't know, a 10 or a 20% commission, and she might have gone in there guns blazing and saying, "Hey, I get half of this," and he said, "No way." I don't know.
That could be a reason. Yeah.
Right.
One thing I wanted to point out, I think Dawn had shared this. I'm just going to bring it up here. Gosh, where was that? I believe that was in our Discord. Heidi Planck. There we go. So this was something that Dawn found on Reddit today. I spoke to a buddy of mine this morning. This makes my blood curl. Who is a resident of the downtown LA building where her dog was found. He mentioned that visitors only have access to their respective floors. We have confirmed that. Additionally, he said about 2 weeks ago, around the 2 weeks ago, there was an awful smell that was coming from the garage chute. Ugh.
Am I good or what?
I know.
Told
I
you.
was like,
I told you.
are you Few Highway
I don't know.
1755,
I
Gavin?
I just start to get into these kids' heads, and I start to look for the most logical explanation that fits. I always say that it fits, and this fits.
So they complained about the horrid smell, and this is it. If you've ever smelled a dead animal, it is horrid. It is mortifying. It's grotesque. It's not just garbage. Like, it really does. So story time. I went over to a friend's house, and he said, "Oh, just to let you know, a rat had died in the wall, and we haven't been able to get it out, so we're lighting all this incense." And at the time, it just smelled like incense, so I was like, "Oh, it smells fine." Well, as soon as the incense wore off, it was putrid. Like, you
Yeah.
could not be in that building. And it was a small rat. So you can imagine anything larger, it would be terrible. And so it was coming out on the hallway on his floor, because that's where the chute was, and it was out of service for maintenance and cleaning for a few days. So I really hope that the cops have looked into this. If not, I think we need to make a call. Um, yeah. So I don't know
And
if
that
this
would
is
also explain why her laptop and her phone would have gone dead too, right? If it would have
right.
gotten compacted and just exploded, or
But then what about the car?
the car has never had the GPS activated. I think he would have. So I have an address for him, 907 Marvin Ave, for the Aaron Gill.
Marvin Avenue in LA?
Yeah, that's his non-Chicago address.
So this is where he lives. This is where he lives?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's an hour away.
okay. Okay. Doesn't look like a real estate producer to me. Just say that.
Is that? Are you sure?
2013 though, it could have been 907 Marvin Avenue.
Well, I have it on my screen.
Oh, this is Louisiana. It looks like
Yeah.
Louisiana.
No, 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 no. You want
Okay, hold on.
California, girl? What are you doing to me?
I said LA.
I'm like, I
Los
don't, I
Angeles.
don't think so.
I was like, really? You
No,
drive that truck?
these are monster houses out here.
Yeah. Okay. So this
It
is
scared me there for a second.
you're like, I don't trust myself anymore.
I
907.
just zoomed in on it.
Yeah. Marvin Avenue. Who else did we have join? I heard
My
someone join.
907 Marvin Avenue, Redlands, California.
Okay, Redlands. Oh, Redlands, California. Okay. 907. Let's try this again. Marvin's with an S. Avenue
It's
Red
Marvin. Marvin, no S.
Marvin. Okay.
Marvin.
Avenue Red.
What are you? Yeah, Redlands. What are you?
Well, is this the one?
Yeah, but you just do directions from the 1201.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, so you just go.
Redlands is a good hour and a half at least maybe 2 hours.
It's 1 hour and 52 minutes from Heidi's house to his house.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Yeah, and 10 minutes to the actual Hope Building.
There you go. That's all you have to
Yeah,
do.
that's an
And
easy
what?
commute.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where he lives, and that's where the Hope Building is. So that kind of makes sense. I mean, I think he is primarily based out of Chicago, but he in his Instagram, here I'll show you his Instagram, Aaron Gill Instagram. There he is. It's a creep. I've been training my whole life for this. I'll tell you that much. Here he
Oh,
is.
I have their office too. It's 22333 Pacific Coast Highway,
What city?
Los Angeles.
Or Los Angeles.
Yeah,
Pacific Promenade.
let me go back.
Does
Pacific Coast Highway, Malibu,
Yep.
California.
Oh,
Malibu.
Malibu.
Okay.
Okay.
Really? That's
22333.
So that's like their office,
There we go. Malibu.
and that's the same place you'll find that Isabella girl.
That's not the San Vicente? I thought he was on San Vicente. Are we talking about Gil still?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on San Vicente in Brentwood.
Yeah, I think
What's
your address is wrong there again, Mo. Like,
Yeah,
this one? The Pacific Coast?
He's basically dead east of 1201.
Yeah,
Or the
Brentwood
Pacific?
is
Here,
right up the street from where she lives.
I'll just link it to you.
Mhm.
Here, yeah, you'll get all the addresses and everything. So here.
Yeah, it's
I
1190.
actually did already, Mo. It's the one I've already linked.
Oh, okay.
I knew you're gonna need it, so that's why.
Hey, you're on it. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna open this and I'm gonna put it on the screen here so everyone can see it.
Yeah, there you go. So
Yeah.
his is
Oh
over
yeah.
there.
Is that the right one? I swear
That's
to
not the
God.
right one.
Is it not? Pacific
No.
Coast Highway.
It's not the one on Pacific Coast Highway.
Okay.
It's on,
What
it's on San Vicente, which is like 5 minutes from Heidi's. But it's the one.
okay.
Yeah. Let me see.
So you're saying the Marvin Avenue location isn't correct?
The one on your map isn't. No, it's his house is east of there.
Okay.
Like dead east, like an hour east.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, either way, we can confirm this information. I don't want to stay too long on that. I did want to show this post. This is the building that's going for $125,000 a month. Someone tagged him in this. Get in touch with Aaron. And I believe this is the Hope Building.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure it is because I remember those circles on the top. And look at that awning. But again, it's trash inside in more ways than one. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So there's that, which doesn't leave me with great feelings about Heidi.
He's pretty proud of that penthouse, though, eh?
Yeah, I mean, 125. How can you even? I can't even imagine.
Well, I think it's like what, 23,000 a month. I think for
Yeah,
404.
for 404, but the one he's selling, the other penthouse, is 125,000 a month.
Yeah,
Apparently, it's the highest.
404 is also for sale right now. Again,
Yeah, 4004 is.
Yeah, as of September 30th.
So you should go see it.
I hope I'm counting on it tomorrow. I'm
Yeah.
going to see I'm going to see 3904 38. Let me see, 3904 3804 and 8 and 4,000. So
check the stairwells and see if you can get up to the penthouse.
Yeah, and check the garbage chute. See if there's any lingering smell.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hire a canine dog for the day.
I should, right?
Call dog.
Talk to dog and see if he can.
Can I just borrow yours for the day? He's gonna sniff around for Heidi.
He
Tell
likes
him
this.
you'll house sit it for a week.
Exactly.
Oh man. Right. And so the other theories, we kind of talked a little bit about it, but a theory that I maybe had was that Naeem was upset that she broke it off with him. There was a report that from her friends that Heidi broke it off with Naeem because he wasn't able to visit her as often as she'd like, or there was too much of a distance. And sorry, I'm just going to mute you a little bit, Don. And he would have the knowledge about how to turn off the location services, having worked for Facebook man. But then it doesn't make sense. Like, why did he say that she texted him that she was scared, but yet he said that he thought she was ghosting him? Maybe that's an alibi. But why hasn't he talked to the press? We haven't heard anything of him. I actually emailed the Zuckerberg Initiative, as well as this other place of work that he's apparently worked, to confirm that he worked there. Who knows if they'll respond, but hope they do. Another thing is that the ex-husband wanted to gain sole custody of the child. He's done that. It seems like a pretty wild thing to do in order to make that happen. So I don't put much weight in that theory. And then the other thing is people who were screwed over by Camden Capital, which seems to be a lot of people, lured her to the building, that they're helping finance, that the Sugarman people were helping finance. And Erin Gill is part of kind of that group. And she may have been a key holder or be listed as a unit rep due to working for Elliman in 2015, but also being very intimately connected to other people who were involved in that building. And then something bad happened there. Garbage chute involved. Yikes.
Yeah.
And then the one that I'm personally hoping for. Okay, so another thing is that she may have been lured down by the SEC for a meeting, but it wasn't actually the SEC, and someone took her out there, or someone took her out before she made it to the SEC. I was seeing in some comments that the SEC wouldn't call you. It's very odd for the SEC to call you. Another thing is this was on a Sunday. It would have had to be a pretty big case, which it indeed was, for them to be meeting on a Sunday. And then the final thing, as I said, that I'm really hoping for, because I just want everyone to be okay and for us to, celebrate her son's birthday with her, and for everyone to, just be celebrating like we did for Cleo. But, it would be really nice if she was just hiding out on her own and had called a favor from Aaron or somebody else to use as a safe space for hiding, or a starting point at least, because I can't imagine that being a great place to stay given the connection to her boss. So, yeah, I will hand it over to you guys and tell me what you think.
Go ahead, Don.
I don't, it's just, I don't even want to put a for sure out there because there's a big question mark. There's so much obvious, to me at least, that it's hard to ignore, but hard to believe because it's so obvious that they would actually do something like that. They meaning somebody related to the SEC filings, not the SEC, but I personally don't think it was anybody having to do with anything in the apartments. I think there's a lot of unknown still. There's a possibility that she could have known somebody in there, been dating somebody secretly in there that has a place in there. I believe that she has a connection with that building, and because she worked with Elliman, I think that she probably got him that account,
Mm-hmm.
that's my opinion, that she hooked them up, and gave him that opportunity. And you're not going to see a broker at that at their property, but you're right about Erin Gill. They are connected. Ani is definitely connected to the SEC filing through Camden. And to be clear, or somebody having to do with that it's been that long. It's been long enough where you would never suspect, somebody to come get you years later. People, police are never going to expect that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's the whole, I'll get you back, but I'm going to wait until I'm not, I won't be a suspect, that kind of thing. And it's been long enough that somebody may have gotten revenge on her. We don't know if she's talked or not. We don't know. She definitely wasn't on the paperwork. She wasn't included in the law in the filings. But Glannis and his dad were, and I just want to get one thing straight. Like, they were not duped into that whole SEC filing by Sugarman. They actually are the ones who got Sugarman. They went to Sugarman, and then there's
Glennis did.
yes, both the Glannises, the father and
Right.
son. They're the ones who started it. And they were backed up by Sugarman's investments and corporations, and then the someone named from Hughes Capital named Michelle. Oh gosh, I sent it. I can't remember her last name right now. But she seemed to have a big hand in it. All these people that seem to have a hand in it, she was named in the filings. All those people seem to have gotten off pretty easily. And I'm wondering why. To me, that's very odd.
I'm just going to mute you for a second. So in your opinion, so here's where I'm like, I believe that's entirely possible. Do you think it was a fit of rage of that? And this is a question to you as well, Gavis. Do you think, the killing, if that's indeed what happened, was I'm so angry with you that you're somehow involved? What do you think the motive was?
I think it was we're getting
go ahead.
feedback from you, Don. I think it was connected to the Sugarman financing of this building, and I think that financing came through Aaron. So when Aaron secured the financing to build this thing, he reached out to Sugarman. That's the connection to her, and whatever this blowup was something to do with the affidavit that was probably served to him, the Sugarmans, and everybody involved on probably the 14th. So that's where they're scrambling and they're stressed out for those 3 days. That fits. That's why she goes missing on the 17th, because you get rid of her, she controls all paper, she controls all the money trail. She's gone. Nothing can ever come back to either of them.
Right. Destroy the laptop, destroy the evidence, destroy the person.
Yeah, you get rid of the chief financial controller, the House of Cards cannot convict anybody because there's no information anywhere. All those shell companies that are offshore, there's no paper trail to that at all.
Right. Ugh. I mean, that fits, right? I mean,
totally fits. And the only other thing, and the only other scenario I can see is that it was a carjacking. She was back at her car on the side of the grungy area, and somebody just jacked her. That's the only other scenario I see. So those are my two. And
so you don't think it's possible that she's? Yeah, I mean, I guess the possibility that she's in hiding, it just begs the question.
No,
why wouldn't she keep her dog? Why wouldn't she tell her son? Why
she loves her boy way too much. She's not going 3 weeks without talking to Bond. There's just like zero chance. Maybe 1% chance.
I was waiting for that. Okay, and what do you think, Dawn?
So I personally think that that the SEC had, and I think they had everything they needed. I think the only reason that Sugarman wasn't convicted criminally was so they could go after him civilly and maybe get some of this money back to pay the people back that have been damaged. So personal opinion, I don't think that she was really. I think in the beginning she probably said a lot, and that's probably why they were able to convict who they did. And that's why they're going to be able to file this civil suit as well. I think they have everything they need. I don't think they need anything else. And so I think she gave him everything. And I think that they're definitely making sure that
those offshore accounts, you can bury those so deep, like you'll never get that money back. I promise you. If those guys are smart enough, there's no way.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I mean, sorry, I just muted you because I don't want the feedback. But even if the SEC did have everything, it's possible that Sugarman didn't know that, right? And so he's still trying to cover his. No, but and Gav, that's what I'm saying. I agree with your theory.
But no, I've dealt with guys that have screwed me over in the
Mhm.
SEC, and they don't do anything. Like
Hmm.
it's ridiculous. I mean, we're talking like almost 100 mil, and they're like
Really?
a limp noodle. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, I was mad.
Huh. Wow, that's too bad. Like they
Yeah,
got
I
screwed
know,
over.
right?
Dawn, any other thoughts?
I yeah, no, I mean, I just think that the civil suit is it could it has the potential to drain everything they have that can be located. And um I don't think her name on the paperwork is really that as big a deal as we think it is, because corporations, LLCs, and they're all LLCs as far as I can see, they have to be
Mhm.
updated every year. So, and she was the controller, and she was the one who did the updating. So her name's going to be on there. There are a few that are different, though. If you look at them, there are a couple that don't say LLC that actually have her address as the physical address for those corporations, which is quite odd.
Camden Capital is one of them.
Yeah.
These guys are big time into these pink sheet companies,
Mhm.
and if you put money into those pink sheets, you can pretty much kiss it goodbye. It's like a penny stock or whatever.
Right.
Nothing it's secured to. There's no rules they have to abide by until they get to a TSX or an actual, you know, real entity. They can lie as much as they want. It's kind of how the Wolf of Wall Street made his money. Same way, pink sheet companies.
Right. And Art has a good comment. I can tell you that when a person feels trapped, scared, and depressed and overwhelmed, a kid doesn't stop them from self-deletion. It's a good point.
But you go to
You
the
never
Hope and
know.
Flower to self delete.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, who
There's a
knows, right?
beautiful beach. You could go to Pismo Beach. You could go to Redondo Beach.
Hmm.
It
They're
does have
all
a
fine,
helipad.
beautiful.
That's a good point. Dawn says it does have a helipad. I think it has two, in fact. Who knows? What about you, Mark? What do you think?
I don't know. I've been sitting here listening to everybody, including Gavis and and Don and everyone, and I have believed for quite some time that she's not alive because of her son. Um, she would not. They kept talking, and even Jim kept saying that this is not like her. She was a good mother. Her best friend says she was a good mother. She would never not be in touch with her son. She was even in touch a lot with Jim, her ex.
Hmm.
And so for her just to go missing like this, there's no way. I am totally convinced she is not alive. And I think all of the, like I said before, I think all of the clues are in that tower. I
Yeah.
think it all goes back to that tower. I have thought that since I've started researching that. Um, with the dog, that's just way too suspicious. And I think she was living well over her means, and then that's just a side thing. But 125 grand when you really look into it, and I live in the Midwest. I don't know anything about LA other than what I've heard, but the cost of living with the salary that she makes, the rent that she pays, the overhead, and I mean, she just appears like she lives high.
Hmm.
From what I
Well,
there's financial
Mark,
problems and
Mark, can I stop you there?
sure.
So there's a lot of ways with those sugarmans. If those sugarmans are deleting $9 million left, right, and center, that 125 that she's reportedly making, that could be just a fraction of what she's actually making, especially if she's in a divorce settlement
Oh, that's
or
true.
a paternity settlement. She might be getting a whole bunch from her ex Jim Wayne as well, right? So she
Sure.
could be making an extra 5 or 6 grand a month from that. Plus,
That's
all
true.
these sugarmans are gonna make sure she's very comfortable. So I don't think
Yeah,
she's
that's
above her
true.
means.
Okay, well that's probably true, and I didn't think about all that. But she was scared to death. She was scared because, and I didn't realize that you had to update the LLC every year. But her name being over all on all of these things, she was scared about that. Now, I was just beginning to dig into that Aaron Gill from Chicago. So I didn't put him at the tower. I didn't put him in LA other than he went back and forth from what I understood. But his main business was in Chicago. So I didn't place him in the Hope Tower. I thought she was killed in the Hope Tower, but never put him there. But I didn't know who was there.
Yeah.
So
He's the one that's renting the 4004 for $23,000 or $24,000 a month.
okay, so that I totally had missed, or I
And
had
he
read
and
that.
I don't know. Is he
if you do
renting it?
he's
Is he
renting
renting
that
it,
one.
or is he trying to get it rented?
Trying to get it rented, I think.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm thinking there could have been an argument about that too. So if somebody did come in and rent it for a year and dropped whatever 250 grand, I mean that's $50,000 commission at minimum, maybe
Yeah, that's true.
100,000. So I don't know.
Now the other
Feels like there could have been an argument there, and he also has a place in California too, Mark.
right, and the other thing I was thinking about as I was listening to you, Gavis, talking about this, Aaron, is does he have a license to practice real estate in California?
In this situation, he's more of a developer.
Okay,
He's the one that financed. He used the Omni Group and
uh-huh.
the Sugarmans to get this
Okay,
thing built. So he's taken what he did in Chicago and trying to apply it to California.
okay, so he could use his Illinois license in
No,
California.
no, 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 no.
Okay,
So the brokerage, which is
okay,
the Element or Ellison or whatever,
yeah,
those are the people that
Element.
are going to sell the actual individual units.
okay, gotcha.
So he's a part of the using the Omni guys and the Sugarmans to finance the build.
So he's working as kind of like a developer or getting
Yeah,
the
right.
yeah, okay,
So
got it.
he's not the broker. He's not licensed to sell that real estate. He's going to promote it, but
Got it.
he's going to use that Ellison guys to sell it.
Okay, because I could
And
find
that's probably where Heidi comes in,
oh, that's true.
because she
That's
does
true.
have her license.
Right, and I could find his I've got his Illinois license number, but I could not find a California real estate license number. So
No, he's trying to punch above his weight limit here. This is going to the big boys. This is like Trump trying to build a hotel.
okay.
He's pretty young too, or
Wow.
he looks to be.
Yeah, and he probably doesn't take any guff from anybody, right?
Right.
He's a
So that's
producer.
so that's where I was at. I just was sure that something happened to her at the Trump. I mean, yeah. Oh God. Trump. Please
Get
don't.
that man out of your head. He's
Please.
not allowed here.
No, that something happened at the Hope Tower. That's where she met her demise. I've always thought that. The only thing that went through my mind was suicide, but then I kept going back to the Hope Tower. She's not going to commit suicide there, but
And
that
she was planning on
And
visiting
she
her
would have left her
mom.
dog with a friend if she
Yeah.
was
no,
planning on doing something like that.
no, absolutely.
We'd leave you notes.
Somebody
Yeah.
attacked her. Somebody did away with her because that dog. She wouldn't have left that dog either.
Exactly. That
Yeah.
dog
She
was
would not have.
probably just like Bond in her eyes.
Yeah, she's not alive.
I agree with you.
Well,
Unfortunately.
But now we just need to find out who did it.
we need to first of all, I still really want to know what the police found in that video.
Yeah.
It's the LAPD, so there is a chance that we can get a hold of that video, that they will circulate it at some point, maybe sell it to the Sun or Daily Mail, who knows. Either way, I want to watch it.
Yeah, they should have some video of her either
They have
leaving,
to.
like I was said, like either in a dishwasher, a refrigerator, or a big huge suitcase, or
Yeah.
maybe the helicopter. Did the helicopter leave on the 17th or the 18th?
Was there a helicopter? We should have been looking at the flight radar.
Should have been.
Damn. I closed that tab as soon as the Gabby Petito thing stopped, but
Okay, so is that helicopter used for emergencies? You know, like that's a big earthquake area, or is that used to
No,
bring in
that's-
it could
exact?
be anything. It didn't have an
That's-
H on it, so
I think that's for the
yeah, for
executives.
the extra rich.
Oh, okay.
So let me can I say a few things really quickly?
Go ahead.
Okay, so a lot of people are using helicopters now. A lot of people
Oh.
just get from one end of the city to the other. all the time in LA. So it's not that rare that you would. That I mean, it's not totally off brand that there would be a helipad there for the residents. There are a lot of them. A lot of the buildings there have it, actually,
Wild.
because there's so much. It's ridiculous. We lived in Santa Clarita, which is like 15 minutes from downtown, and we had a couple friends who had helicopters, and that's how they went to
No big
work.
deal.
Yeah, but just okay. So to be clear with this whole the Douglas Elliman, okay. So Gil is an agent for Elman. Elman is the broker. Ani is the developer. And Ani is developing several. They already have, and they're developing several more of these utopian type buildings. This is like their fourth one. I think they had the one in San Francisco that they had to stop building, and they used all that money to put in this one. So
Right.
yeah, I just wanted to make that really clear.
That's a good clarification point, actually, because it always confuses me. Okay, any final thoughts, Mark? Otherwise, I think what we'll do is as soon as we hear anything else, we will update you. I'll go live again and we'll talk about it once we have more information, and hopefully that information includes that video.
Yeah, I just want to know where we go from here, because I think we all agree that she's dead. So we need to find the killer, right? Is that what we're looking?
We need to find the killer. And so Art was asking about whether Dawn went to see those apartments. As mentioned earlier, she will be coming in to see the apartments sometime in the next few days.
Okay.
So we'll get her to poke around and ask good questions.
Okay.
And verify some of the things that we've talked about. And we have the lovely Allie who has joined us. Hi, Allie. How's it going? Oh, we can't hear you. There we go. Oh no, you're muted. One sec. I'll mute.
Here.
There you
How's
go.
that? Can I be heard now?
Perfect. Yeah. What are your
Awesome.
thoughts?
I said I only call when I have questions, so I have them.
Okay, ask the questions. I may or may not be able to answer.
Right, and Dawn left. As far as LLCs go, there are things in this case that I have not been able to read yet, which I need to go back because I've been sick a few days. But do we know who else is shareholders in all of them LLCs? Because this is why I was hoping Dawn was on, because I know last year when I tried to start my own business, it's basically pointless to incorporate unless you have at least one other shareholder. So
Right. So I think on the incorporation documents, and Dawn can correct me if I'm wrong, but they have the agent and then they sometimes have a manager or a director, but sometimes it's just the agent. And then we don't know much more about the company. Let me see if I have an example here of one. So here's VPatch, for example. This is how they were incorporated. So it says it's active. The organizer is Heidi Wayne, but then that's it. We don't have any other information, right? So I think it still leaves questioning. We can click on her and see that, oh, look at that. She's the manager for Brand 007 LLC, Camden Capital. Look at all of these, right? So let's see if there are any other people that we can see in these.
It's a lot to dig
Heidi
into
Wayne.
then.
Yeah. And like I said earlier, there were 17 businesses that her name was listed under. 17.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. And some of them are active, some of them are not. Like, I don't know if they actually say here. I'd have to dig into them. But regardless, so Dawn is saying Heidi is the director of many and manager for several, owner of one. So
is there a way to find out on the ones that she isn't the actual owner of, who the owner is?
Yeah, so oops, that's not what I wanted to see. I'm just seeing here, contact us about, so whoops. So VPatch, few people, all people in Wyoming. Let's see this random Nevada one.
Is that showing the states that the businesses are listed in?
Manager.
I'm going to take off, Dawn.
Yeah. Okay.
Later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for calling in. Right. So they chose her as a profile group. That's right. They chose her as the fall girl for everything, it seems.
Yeah, that's what I pretty much figured.
So, I mean, you're right. I mean, we could dig into these corporations. I might have to pay $199 annually to do that. And given my interest in cases like these, maybe it's worth it. I don't know. I already paid for a VPN. I don't even know how that works, but I'm guessing no one
I need to
can find
get
me.
one too.
But I'm looking into everyone on LinkedIn, so they're like, "Oh, Maureen,
Right?
this girl in Vancouver keeps looking at me every day, every hour. Wonder what she's interested in." So I'll finish it off. Let's see. Dawn says all of these have the 4 same addresses. Yes, you're right. The 401 Ryland, which is just a business. But some of them have her personal address, like the Camden Capital is her personal address. The Cohiba Asset Management is her personal address. And then the others, there's one, this Gold Street one is the, V Patch, and we think it has something to do with cryptocurrency. Anyway, regardless, lots of different things under her name. And then Art says it's possible, but unlikely about the garbage chute. If she even entered the building, the cops would know. So, yeah, I mean, that leaves us with we're waiting patiently for this video to be released by the LAPD. Like I said, it's not FBI, so there's a possibility for the media to get it.
Right.
Yeah, and then Dawn is saying the one in Wyoming is her own. So where's the one in? Oh, that's the V Patch. Yeah.
Even if she entered. Yeah, but the oh my gosh, take the night off, Allie.
Yeah.
Anyways,
So yeah, I mean,
but the cops have been pretty quiet on a lot of things, right?
Which makes me wonder why. You'd think if they were still like really looking for her hard, that they would be a little more open. Gosh, have you seen this car? Are you sure you haven't seen this car? Have you seen this woman? Are you sure? I mean, her information is still up on the LAPD website, but she's not one of the top missing people, which is also interesting. So, and then the comments about the property say there are no cameras, which is interesting because I'm pretty sure there are cameras, but we'll have to look into that. And the Airbnb also said there's no camera security. So it could be that, yeah, I would have a hard time imagining. Okay, so my dog, my dog wants attention. I'm gonna bring him and my other dog out, and I'm gonna cap it off here tonight. But I certainly, I certainly hope she's okay. I certainly hope that we get more information in the next couple of days. Please reach out to me if you do find anything, and I will dig into it, or someone on Gavis's team will dig into it. Please like and share this, subscribe, hit that bell button, all those things that the YouTubers say. Do that, please, and then subscribe to Gavis's channel. It's I think it's still Gavis Con. If you Google it, if you go into to my channel, I have linked it there. I've also linked the Discord if you happen to be nosy little people like we are, and use the nosiness for good. So there you go. Thanks everyone for
Thanks
joining.
for having me.
Yeah, thanks for all your help. Bye.